I'm starting because you already know what time it is, and I made it horror stories, and I made it horror stories. All right. Three true Tinder horror stories. Y'all know how I feel about. I love the Tinders. I love the OnlyFans. I love the dark webs. I love the what's another one that I mentioned that I love? I want to say the foster care, but I only seen like a few of them. I love all of those. Why? Because it is things that are really common. You know, like people really be on Tinder, people really be on Bumble, people really be on all these little dating apps just looking for love and not realizing that people are really out there creepy. You know, anything can happen. So let's get on into it. I am our scary tales, our homies. Yes, that's where we are today. Get a bev, get a bev, get a bag of chips, get a blunt, and get a blanket, please, so you can be snuggled and cuddled and, ready for this. As I always say, you can go over and support their channel and watch their stuff because I am RB posting. SSG be posting. The homies be posting. I be posting too, but you're watching with me what they posted 2 months ago and you could be watching what they post, whatever. But you're watching it with me. I appreciate you. I love you so much. And let's get into it. Oh. I was like,
I met a guy named Jason on Tinder one night. In minutes, he accepts me and we started planning our date. Jason said he lives on the outskirts and would happily send a cab for me to pick me up for dinner tomorrow night. He sounded rich, so I said yes. I wore my most beautiful red dress, with my hair tied up so he can get a good look at my pretty face. I matched them with red heels so when I walk, he gets the full package. Around 7:30, a black Mercedes stops outside my house. The driver took me to the big villa on top of the hill. Jason was waiting for me at the door. Hey, Sydney. Hope you felt comfortable.
Oh, heck yeah. Your car is bigger than my apartment for sure.
Cute humor. Come on in. There was something about the way he spoke that felt odd. Yet, I smiled and followed him into the house. Jason and I have been matched for a Tinder date. I've never been to a house like that before. It had everything. A swimming pool, fireplace, chandelier, open kitchen, everything. Jason poured 2 glasses of wine and we sat down at the dinner table. I started gobbling the food as it was so delicious, but after 3 to 4 mouthfuls, my head started to feel weird. My vision was blurring and I could see a huge grin on Jason's face.
What's in the food?
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, God. What's happening to me?
Mine is Friday the 13th. I woke up in a room with red lights. I could feel my body strapped and tied to an operating table. Suddenly, I heard a rustling sound of metal and saw Jason sharpening his knife standing near my feet. His face was hidden behind a hockey mask, but I could still see his evil eyes peeking at me. I screamed and tried to move my body. It was too late. He came closer holding the knife. It came down to my neck and I knew that this is the end for me. I heard a gunshot followed by a girl's scream.
Die, you pig!
Jason's body fell to the floor and smoke started coming out of his face. A girl rushed towards me and she was missing an arm.
I'm Riley. This butcher took my arm and kept me locked in for days. Come on, we need to get out of here.
We were shaking, waiting outside in the cold, but staying inside didn't feel like a good idea anymore. The cops arrived and get us the medical care we need, but the biggest shock of my life came afterwards. When the police searched Jason's house, they didn't find his body. It was like he was never shot. Riley left for the hospital and I was escorted home safely. I deleted my Tinder account and swear to never go on dates with strangers. When I threw myself into my bed, I drowned in sleep immediately. I woke up hearing a glass break. I don't have Nay a pet, so my face turned pale with fear. I slowly looked out my window, and there he was, Jason, trying to get inside the house. He was already twisting the window lock to open it. I ran out of the room and heard a huge breaking sound behind me.
Hurry up, hurry up.
God, he's inside. I hid under the kitchen table, but I could still see him below the knee.
Girl.
He walked to the kitchen and started scanning his surroundings. Oh, Sydney. Do you want to play hide and seek? Fine then. My turn. I put my hand on my mouth not to make any sound. He closer to the kitchen table, and suddenly his strong hands pulled me by the hair, and I was once again in his grasp. He had a tight grip that was paining like hell. I knew he is going to end my life, so without thinking, I reached for the knives on the kitchen desk. I managed to grab one after a lot of trouble and stabbed Jason in the chest before he could stab me. He passed out in my kitchen and rushed to my neighbors. I told them everything and they called the cops, but when the cops searched the house, they returned empty-handed once again. Jason's body was nowhere to be found. I was pretty sure that Jason is not a human being, otherwise surviving 2 times from death is not logically possible. My neighbors told me to stay with them for a couple of days, but I didn't want to live in fear. I kept my doors and windows locked for 3 days and nothing happened. On the 4th night, it was raining heavily when my doorbell rang. I didn't open it right away.
Who is it?
It's Bobby! Open the door, Sid! What is Bobby doing here? We had a bad breakup, but I kinda liked him. I opened the door and got in all drenched with a backpack. He hugged me, saying, I was so worried about you. I heard about everything. Just let me stay with you a couple days, okay?
Fine.
Seriously, I was really scared to live alone at that time. We had a nice dinner, and Bobby and I smoked a bit. It was like the college days again. After a lot of lovemaking, we went to bed. This time, I didn't wake up to any sound or disturbance. I just woke up. But something was weird again. Bobby was not on the bed. I came out to the living room, calling out to him, when I saw him lying on the couch. I walked close and turned on the lamp. He was dead. Someone broke his neck, but there was a small pen drive on his forehead with a note, "Play me." I did play.
Why would you play?
Someone was filming me and Bobby just a few hours ago. Bobby was sitting beside me searching for something in his backpack, and then he found it. It was a gun. He pointed it to my passed out face, and just when he was about to pull the trigger, the maker of the video took him to by his neck. The screen turned black. Then the camera turned into selfie mode, and I saw the man behind the camera. It was Jason. He raised his hand holding a white note, then walked Bobby's dead body and opened his mouth. He put the note in and closed it and left. The video ended. The fact that Bobby came to kill me and pin it on Jason is a shocking truth. But the fact that Jason saved my life because he wants to end it with his own hands gives me no sleep at night.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If so, please leave a like. And also, a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you want to support this channel and make this channel reach the 1 million mark, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can change your mind later. Enjoy.
I sat down nervously at the table, my heart thumping. She hadn't looked this beautiful on Tinder, and my mind raced as I tried to remember what we had talked about. It felt weird now, sitting across from her. So, how was your day?
Oh, it was just peachy. What about you?
David. I know my name is easy to forget.
I'm so sorry. I must have been nervous, David.
It was weird. She had never had trouble with my name when we talked over Tinder. Still, I suppose that it was just a mistake and I tried to ignore it. You know, I've always loved ramen. I'm so glad we decided to go to this place.
Ramen is great.
Her voice gave me the chills, and for some reason I found myself wanting to get out of there. I found myself wanting to get away from the beautiful woman sitting in front of me. And then my phone buzzed. I was glad to have an excuse to turn away from her, and I looked down at my phone. The notification, however, freaked me out. It was from Tinder.
David? Where are you? I'm out front of the ramen place. Didn't you say you wanted to meet up here?
My heart raced. I glanced upward toward the girl in front of me, sweat on my brow. She didn't have a phone out. Nowhere. I heard another notification and I looked down.
David, I'm here. I'll be standing in front of the ramen place waiting.
I glanced up and that was when my heart sank. I saw her, the girl I had talked to on Tinder, standing out in front of the place. I glanced back toward my date and was looking at me with a weird smile on her face.
Everything all right?
No, bitch, you just
Of course.
said one of my people.
Just
you
a
don't
stomach
know
ache.
me.
I think you'll have to excuse me while I go to the restroom.
Take your time, David.
I bolted up from my chair as if I had been electrocuted and started to walk away, my heart pounding. I was sure she knew something was up, but I had to get away. I started running down the street and could feel her eyes on me as I went. I glanced back and my heart leapt into my throat. She was coming out of the shop, whatever weird doppelganger of my date I had met, and she was following me. I began to speed up, my heart beating as I ran. The dark streets around me seemed too empty, and I began to panic. Glancing back, I almost screamed in shock. The woman who was chasing me wasn't moving like a human. Her skin was pale, her eyes were turning red, and she seemed to be getting faster and faster. In desperation, I ducked into an alleyway and tried to call for help. No one answered. The street lights flickered and went out, and I was left in the dark. All of a sudden, I heard footsteps coming toward me. I could see it, whatever it was, standing there in the moonlight. It was tall, pale, and almost eerily still. It had 2 gigantic rows of teeth, and its entire face was split into a grin, as if its smile and teeth reached from ear to ear. It had no nose, but I was sure it could see me and hear me. Suddenly, however, I heard an engine approaching, and a car pulled up. The creature took one final look around and leapt away, and a wave of relief flooded over me as I heard a familiar voice.
David, get in now!
I didn't think twice. I jumped into the car and we sped away, glancing back to see the creature fading into the night. My real date had saved me, and I thanked her with a tight hug.
What the hell was that thing?
I don't know, some kind of mutated person or something? I'm just so glad you found me.
Yeah, same here, David. I was so worried when you didn't respond to my messages.
How did you find me anyway? Later that night, after we talked it all through, we lay in bed. I heard her breathing softly next to me and I turned toward her, expecting to see her face. But instead, the creature from the alleyway was there, pale, grinning, and with 2 rows of teeth. Its eyes were shut, but it was real. It wasn't a dream. I pinched myself and muffled a scream as I realized that whatever that creature was, it found me. I'm trying not to wake it. Please send help. Hey guys, my name's James, and I have a story to tell you. It all started with me looking at Tinder profiles from bed. I was swiping through the different profiles quietly until something strange started to happen. All of the profiles had the name Mary. I started to scroll as fast as I could, but the profiles were still the same. No, they had something different. In the profile, there was a picture of a dead woman under some stairs, and every time I advanced on the profile picture, it looked closer and closer and closer. It was all a nightmare. Suddenly, I got a text from Tinder. It was Angela, the girl I had agreed to go on a date with. Angela was a nice girl. We had talked for about 2 weeks until I asked her for dinner, which she accepted without any problems. I didn't want to be late for my first date, so I changed, put on some perfume, and ran out. The date at the restaurant was going well, until Angela asked me questions about my past dates, and I had to tell her about Mary. Mary and I had been dating for several years, but one day, in the middle of an argument, she fell down the stairs. She died instantly. And that's what happened to Mary.
That's terrible, James. It's good that you're brave enough to come here and you can date again.
Did you
Yeah,
fuck her?
I guess you're right.
No.
It just all happened so fast.
So, you want to replace me, James? James,
Oh,
what's wrong?
When I turned around, it wasn't Mary standing next to me, but the waitress.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I felt like I was dying of embarrassment. The whole restaurant was looking at me strangely, and I don't blame them. They probably think I'm crazy. Angela ignored what happened, saying that surely talking about Mary transported me to an ugly place and apologized. She's so nice. Anyway, we finished eating and we both went to my house. As soon as we arrived, Angela rushed over to me and gave me a passionate kiss. I hugged her as she gave it to me, but I couldn't help but open my eyes. In front of us was a huge mirror, and when I saw it, it wasn't Angela I was hugging. It was Mary. I panicked and pushed her away from me, but when I did, it was Angela again.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have rushed in like that.
No, this is my fault, you see. I'm still not over what happened with Mary. You see, it's not as simple as I told you. The night of the fight, we were arguing. She lunged at me, and I pushed her. That's when she fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. It must be very hard to live with that. But don't blame yourself. It was an accident. It could have happened to anyone, in any situation.
I
Girl.
know. Thank you. Angela, you're really supportive. Immediately, Angela hugged me, and we buried the subject. A while later, we were both in bed. It was 3 in the morning, and suddenly a Tinder message woke me up. I opened the message out of curiosity, and it was a message from Angela. She seemed very angry that we had missed our date at the movies. At that moment, I started to remember. I wasn't going to go to a restaurant. I was going with Angela to the movies. As the memory started to pop into my head, I remembered today's date. At the restaurant, at my house, everywhere. I was alone. Angela was never with me.
Oh.
Then, whose hand is on my chest now? Without warning, the monster began to savagely choke me. It had superhuman strength.
What?
This was not Mary. I didn't know who this monster was. I managed to kick her out of the way and ran to the exit door, but it was locked. I looked around in terror, but the monster was gone. Where are you? Leave me alone! Suddenly, the door behind me burst open, and before I could react, Mary grabbed me by the head and dragged me across the apartment to throw me violently against the window from my third-floor apartment. As I fell to the floor in agony, my head clouded over and I began to remember again. I remember arguing with Mary at our house. Mary was furious because she checked my cell phone and saw that I was talking on Tinder with a girl named Angela. Suddenly, Mary pushed me angrily. I was the one who fell down the stairs. As I reached the bottom, I only remember Mary at the top of the stairs, crying and apologizing as she came down to help me. You're a monster! A monster! After that, I opened my eyes again. I was still in agony, but I had fallen from no apartment. I'm in an ambulance. I have a respirator in my mouth and I can't talk. I couldn't even move. The place is full of paramedics, but the only person I can see is Mary, who's in the ambulance in front of me, crying.
I'm sorry, James. I never meant for it to end like this. I swear, it was an accident. I'm a monster.
No, you're
I
not.
thought that in a situation like this, my body would hurt a lot, but no, I don't feel anything. All I can do is look at Mary crying. I don't know if I'll survive this. If there's one reason I want to survive this, it's to talk to Mary. I want to tell her that it was an accident, that this was not her fault, that she's not a monster.
Y'all, if that ain't a twist, I love a twist. It turns out that he was really, and he was in a little quick coma because his ass got caught cheating and she pushed him out of anger. She's lucky that he woke up because she would have been locked up for attempted murder. Mm, mm, mm. That's crazy. I really enjoyed that one. I think that one might have been my favorite one out of the three. Only because of the twist. I love a twist. Y'all, I really do. I love a twist so much. What? And that's what was fire. A quick little, you thought you were dead, you're not. But in reality, you really almost died because you were cheating. Your brain said she's crazy. Your actions, you were the cheater. You's a cheating ass man out here cheating. And that's why you got pushed. What? That's crazy, ain't it? Mm, mm, mm. Until next time, my love bugs. Don't forget to like this video. Comment which one was your favorite. I keep saying that number 3 was my favorite because it was. I love a good twist. And until next time, you guys, goodbye.